The man in the bakery never smiled. Not when he handed over change, not when he bagged up sourdough loaves still warm from the oven, not even when Mrs. Henderson's terrier pissed on a doorstep every Tuesday like clockwork. He just stood there behind the counter, his thick forearms dusted with flour, watching the town file past with eyes like polished river stones. "Jesus, Leo," muttered Alex as she grabbed her usual black coffee from the tray. "You look like you're about to autopsy that cinnamon roll." He blinked at her, then slowly pushed the pastry across the counter without a word. The bell above the door jangled as Alexandria left, stuffing the roll into her mouth. She didn't see him wipe his hands on his apron and reach for the landline phone. Didn't hear the way he said, "She took the bait," low and quiet into the receiver. Alexandria had just left the little bakery on Rookwood Avenue, a paper bag of pastries against her chest, when she noticed the bulletin board outside a nearby laundromat. For months it had been plastered with the usual clutter: lost cats, church bake sales, old job flyers fading in the sun. But today it was covered in missing person posters, dozens of them, layered over one another like shedskin. One poster grabbed her attention immediately. A young man, mid-20s, dark hair, calm eyes, a faint half smile like he wasn't used to being photographed, a small scar on his eyebrow. The poster read, "Enzo Ruiz, missing, 2 months." Alexandria didn't know him, had never heard the name, but something about the face refused to let her look away. She memorized the details without meaning to, and when she finally turned and started walking home, she had the strange, unsettling sense that the photograph was still watching her. The next morning, she saw him, not on a poster, not online, in real life. Alexandria was waiting for her bus on Delmont Street when a man crossed the road, hands in his jacket pockets, head slightly lowered against the wind. Her breath hitched instantly. The hair, the walk, the scar. It was the same man from the poster. And then he looked at her. Their eyes met for barely a second, but the moment stretched. Something cold and electric slid down her spine. Recognition, fear, a strange sense of inevitability. Then the man quietly turned away and began walking in the opposite direction. He didn't run, didn't rush. He moved like he was acting out the motion of leaving. Deliberate, controlled, wrong. Alexandria stared after him. Then, without deciding to, she stepped off the curb and followed. She wasn't reckless, she kept her distance, but she tracked him through town as the morning wind grew sharper. Past the shuttered bakery, down the narrow alley behind the hardware store, into an older part of town where the street lights flickered even during daylight. And then he vanished. He walked around the corner. Alexandria quickened her steps, and when she turned the same corner, the alley was empty. Completely empty. No back doors, no gates, no dumpsters big enough for someone to hide behind. Just silent brick walls and the echo of her own breathing. That's when she saw the paper wedged under a loose brick. Her hands shaking, she pulled it free. It was the same missing person poster, but this one had a new line typed at the bottom. "If you saw me, please don't follow." And below it, written in pen, still wet, "Enzo." Her stomach dropped, because this wasn't old. It wasn't staged. Someone, he, had placed it here moments before she arrived. After that day, Alexandria couldn't shake the feeling she was being watched, not hunted, not threatened, just observed, like someone was taking notes on her life. It happened in brief flashes. A figure standing across the street at night, a shape reflected in a darkened shop window, a silhouette she would see for half a second before a passing car blocked her view. Each time she looked again, he was gone. but she always felt him lingering, like he wanted to be seen, but only in fragments. By the third sighting, she began carrying the original poster in her bag, as if holding it might anchor him to reality. One night, she woke from sleep, certain someone had been in her room. Nothing was disturbed, but the window was slightly open, and on her dresser lay a folded envelope. Inside was a single sentence: "You're close. Don't be afraid." No signature this time. But she knew Enzo was trying to communicate, but not all at once, like he couldn't fully exist in front of her, or wasn't allowed to. 3 days later, while walking home from work, Alexandria noticed police tape surrounding the alley where she had first followed him. Two detectives stood talking by the brick wall. A woman in a blue jacket took photographs of something on the ground. Curiosity overpowered caution, and she drifted closer, close enough to overhear. Someone had been found injured there the night before. Not killed, but badly hurt. The detectives believed the attack had happened fast, unexpected, quiet. One of the officers described the lookout request that came in that morning. A tall young man, scar on his eyebrow, seen near the scene before disappearing. Alexandria felt cold all over, because the description wasn't vague. It was exact. They were looking for Enzo, but everything in her gut said the detectives were wrong. Enzo wasn't stalking people. He wasn't attacking anyone. He was running. From what? Or from who? She wouldn't learn the answer until the night he finally approached her. It was nearly midnight. Alexandria was walking home along the quiet stretch of Melrose Street when she saw a figure standing under a broken street lamp. His shoulders were tense. His hands were shaking. He stepped forward. "Please don't scream." It was the first time she heard his voice, soft, tired, human. "Enzo," she whispered, barely breathing. He nodded. "I'm not missing," he said. "Not in the way they say. I left because something is wrong with me. Something I can't explain. They put my face on posters because they think I disappeared. But I didn't vanish." He paused, looked around them nervously. "I was taken." Alexandria stared at him, the night suddenly too quiet. "Taken by who?" she asked. Enzo's eyes glistened with fear. "Not who," he said. "What?" Before she could speak again, tires screeched around the corner. Headlights flared. Enzo's face drained of color. "They found me." He grabbed Alexandria's hand, cold, trembling, and hissed, "Whatever happens, don't follow. Promise me." Before she could answer, he released her and ran. Fast. Too fast to be normal. A blur of motion swallowed by darkness. The car sped past her, chasing him. She stood frozen in the middle of the street, her pulse pounding in her ears. She didn't follow. The next morning, police presence swarmed the neighborhood. Alexandria learned that the car chasing Enzo had crashed in the woods outside town. The officers survived. Enzo did not. At least, that's what they claimed, but they never found a body. Only one thing was discovered near the crash site: a missing person poster pinned to a tree, fluttering in the wind. The ink was fresh and written across the bottom in rushed, uneven handwriting: "I told you not to follow. Thank you for seeing me.